Hello, this is David Young with Housing Action Illinois, and I'd like to thank you for attending the Community Revitalization Challenge Bank webinar. It is 1 o'clock, and we have some people on the call. We're just going to wait about 30 seconds to give some other people an opportunity to join the call, and then we'll get started. So thank you. So again, this is David Young with Housing Action Illinois, and this is the Community Revitalization Challenge Bank webinar. Thank you for your interest in the Community Revitalization Challenge and for attending this webinar. I'd like to start by first giving you a brief description of Housing Action Illinois. We are a membership-based nonprofit with approximately 160 members, and we represent the interest of people engaged in the housing industry in Illinois. So whether you are a housing counseling organization, a property developer, a property manager, you work in homeless services, with special needs populations, we represent your interests in a number of different ways, including public education and organizing, advocacy, and capacity building. And it is part of the capacity building that we became very interested in creating this Community Revitalization Challenge. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I just want to, before we get started, introduce the presenters. First, yours truly, David Young. I'm the Director of Capacity Building with Housing Action Illinois. And then we will also receive or have closing remarks from Sharon Lagenza, who is the Executive Director of Housing Action Illinois. I'd like to acknowledge the Community Builders Network of Metropolitan St. Louis, who created what is called the CRA Capacity Ladder, and that has been used in the greater St. Louis area, and that was a model for the Community Revitalization Challenge. I'd like to acknowledge our first, I'm sorry, let me just take a brief step back and just tell you a little bit about the agenda. We're going to just go over the goals of and the purpose of the Community Revitalization Challenge, the process, the roles and responsibilities for banks participating in the program, the timeline, how organizations and banks can register. And then we will also take questions. And you will notice on your screen that there is a box where you can type in a question. So if you do have any questions at any time during this presentation, if you type those into the box, we will get those. And then when we reach that point, we will answer all of the questions that have been asked. I'd like to acknowledge the Community Revitalization Challenge sponsors, which include Associated Bank, Midland States Bank, U.S. Bank, PNC Bank, BMO Harris Bank, and I'd also like to acknowledge the members of the steering committee for the challenge, Amelia Vega with U.S. Bank, Tiffany O'Day with Associated Bank, Nicole Clements with PNC Bank, James Gilliam with Fifth Third Bank, Cornell Lurie with First Midwest Bank, David Noble with Midland States Bank, and Bob Mueller with Hometown Community Banks. So the goal behind the Community Revitalization Challenge is to increase the capacity of community organizations to build sustainable partnerships between organizations and banks and support the development of investment-ready projects and create a reliable funding stream for these nonprofit organizations to continue to develop these very important projects. So for a number of nonprofit organizations, they have very good ideas. and activities that would be very beneficial to the communities that they serve, but might not have the capacity in-house or have the access to financial services in order to do the types of things that they want to do. So the Community Revitalization Challenge is designed to meet that need. It's to help organizations, the nonprofit organizations, to be able to partner with banks, use those banks as mentors in order to increase their capacity. And then from there, that provides the financial institutions with potentially CRA eligible financing activities that can then turn into community and economic development initiatives in those communities. So that's how this program was designed, and that's what we are looking to be able to do. So everything that I talk about today will be, you can find on the CRC webpage. And if you go to Housing Action Illinois, which is housingactionil.org, and you click Community Revitalization Challenge, you will see the page for the challenge. You'll see the frequently asked questions, the timeline, everything that's presented here you will find on the web page. So the CRC is first and foremost a capacity building initiative. As I said earlier, our goal is to develop the long-term capacity of our members and partners in order to create more economic development and community development opportunities throughout our great state. There will be, as I will explain in a few minutes, there will be dollars available for winning projects, but the emphasis, the real prize, is the knowledge that is gained and the capacity that is built amongst the nonprofit organizations so that they can continue and increase the community and economic development opportunities and initiatives in their communities. So I'd like to talk just a little bit about how this process works for the nonprofit organizations. So nonprofit organizations are asked to prepare or develop a project idea, and it can be economic or community development oriented, and it's not limited to just bricks and sticks. So while we do expect that organizations will propose maybe new types of housing, apartments, things that benefit their community in terms of residential. We don't want to just limit it to that. So if organizations are looking at other things that will provide a benefit to their community, we encourage them to submit that application. So organizations will submit a registration and initial project proposals to Housing Action by October 5th. And I just want to say regarding those initial project proposals that we don't expect for these proposals to be incredibly detailed. So for financial professionals participating in this process, at this first application phase, you should not expect that the proposals that are coming in will be fully fleshed out in terms of this is exactly what the development is going to cost, and this is where we anticipate funding is going to come from, and these are the different types of mezzanine debt that we need to make this work. That's what these organizations that are selected through this process will be working on with their bank mentors to refine and enhance their projects so that they will be in a position that they can be funded later on. So once organizations have submitted their proposals to Housing Action, we will review those submissions to determine which should move forward to the match round, which will take place in October at the Housing Action Illinois Conference, October 25th and 26th in Bloomington, Illinois. All of the applications will be shared with bank partners prior to the roundtables. So all of the bank partners that are participating in the roundtables will have access so that they can read the proposals and then will be able to ask very good questions as a part of the roundtable. The organizations, the nonprofit organizations, will present their proposals in geographic roundtables at the 2018 conference on October 26th. So we are going to divide this into geographic regions so that organizations in Southern Illinois will be competing against organizations in Southern Illinois. Central Illinois will be competing against Central Illinois, and so on and so forth. As we know, Chicago has an outside influence in Illinois, and so we wanted to make sure that that projects coming from greater Chicagoland did not overwhelm the entire process, and so that's why we're going to use geographic areas in order for people to compete. So matched organizations, so once these proposals have been made, the banks will have an opportunity to pick which proposals that they want to work with. And once those proposals have been picked, then the matched organizations will work with their bank partners to develop and to refine their projects. An important thing for banks to keep in mind is that this is a process that is expected to be driven by the nonprofit organizations. So once a nonprofit organization has been selected, that it's going to be very important for them to continue to work with you and to move this process forward because the development of their project really depends on their ability to work with you to move that forward. Organizations will then showcase their projects at the October 2019 Housing Matters Conference. So if anyone has seen the television show Shark Tank, you'll get an idea on how those process will work in 2019. So the organizations that have been selected in 2018 next month will then have the next year to work with their bank partners in order to refine their project, and then they will be prepared to present that in October of 2019. And once all of those proposals have been presented, then winning organizations will be selected and they will receive seed money to move their projects towards reality. So I'd like to talk just a moment about the roles and responsibilities for the financial services community. For Phase 1, it's recommended that at least one representative attend the CRC launch webinar, which you are doing. Register for CRC roundtables and submit one investment strategy based on given template to Housing Action Illinois for review. And the investment strategy document can be found again on the CRC webpage at housingactionil.org, and then just click where it says Community Revitalization Challenge. In Phase 2, you would attend the roundtables prepared to evaluate and discuss project ideas with community organizations. And if selecting an organization, then you would create a preliminary agreement, submit a joint commitment, a work plan, and a project idea for Housing Action to review. In Phase 3, you would collaborate with your partner organization to develop or to refine your project proposal and submit proof of dialogue to Housing Action Illinois. This is to assure that there is continued work on the project moving on to the next phase. You would then submit one comprehensive proposal formatted according to the given guidelines to Housing Action Illinois for approval. In Phase 4, you would have at least one representative from the bank attend the project showcase, and most likely that would be in place in connection with the partner nonprofit organization. And if committed to investing in a community organization, submit a single joint project agreement to Housing Action Illinois. And then in Phase 5, you would implement project agreement over proposed time frame by providing the agreed upon financial investment, feedback, and assistance on organizational benchmarks. So again, once these projects have moved through to 2019, the expectation is that the initiative has come together so that it should be eligible for financing. So if your bank decides to finance that, then we would want to have an agreement to make sure that things continue to move forward. This next slide shows you the timeline for the Community Revitalization Challenge. In September of this year, we had our CRC launch webinar for nonprofits on September 10th, and today we're having the webinar for the financial services community. We then expect to receive feedback and assistance from organizations to prepare for the CRC roundtables. In October, the CRC registration form with an investment strategy from banks is due by October 1st, and the registration and project proposals for nonprofit organizations is due by October 5th. And then the CRC Regional Networking Roundtables will take place at the Housing Action Illinois Conference on October 26th. In November, Housing Action Illinois will announce the matches between banks and community organizations. In December, Housing Action Illinois will support participants in developing their joint commitment and project development work plan. In January, bank and nonprofit partners will submit a joint commitment form by January 1st. And then from January through October, the nonprofits will collaborate with financial institutions to develop and refine their comprehensive project proposals. And finally, in October, nonprofits will present their proposals to a panel of potential funders during the project showcase. For the Community Revitalization Challenge registration, if a financial institution wishes to participate, there are a couple of ways that you can do that. One, you can be a CRC sponsor, and you can contact Housing Action Illinois to get more information on sponsorship costs. If you are unable to sponsor but would like to participate, you can either sign up for the Housing Action Illinois Conference, or there is a $350 fee for just participating in the Community Revitalization Challenge Roundtable. So again, you can be a sponsor, you can attend the conference, or you can pay that $350 fee. And so we're hoping that we will have robust participation from the financial services industry. So I will stop now and see if there are any questions that we have from the audience.
There are no questions at this time.
Okay, so there are no questions at this time, but if you need additional information, one, this webinar will be recorded and it will be available on our website. The September 10th webinar that we did for nonprofit organizations and kickoff of the CRC is also available on our website, and I would encourage you to listen to that for additional information. We have a number of other pieces of information about the CRC available on the CRC webpage. And again, that's housingactionil.org. And then just click Community Revitalization Challenge, and everything that is up there you will have access to. Again, if you are interested in participating, then you want to submit your investment strategy questionnaire by October 1st. The nonprofit organizations will be submitting their proposals and registration by October 5th, and the roundtables will take place on October 26th at the Housing Action Illinois Conference in Bloomington. There again is just a little bit more information about what I just told you. So now you can see visually the address for the Community Revitalization webpage. You can find the roles and responsibilities for financial institutions, the investment strategy template, and the CRC registration form. So we are now going to turn this over to Sharon Lagenza, the Executive Director of Housing Action Illinois, for some closing remarks.
Hi, everyone. This is Sharon Lagenza. I'm hoping everyone can hear me. I wanted to just say thank you for participating on the webinar and to just emphasize a few points that David made. One is that one of the goals of the CRC is really to help financial institutions find long-term, high-capacity organizations throughout their service areas. We recognize that there are many groups that are already high capacity and doing amazing work throughout the state, but we also know through our interactions with bank partners as well as our members that there are sometimes gaps. And so the CRC is really is one way in which we are hoping to bridge that gap by bringing groups together and making this really a coaching or a mentoring relationship. Regarding Housing Action Illinois' role, in addition to formulating and kind of shepherding through the process, we hope that you really think about us as the backstop. The reason why we have these deadlines and we're doing some vetting is because, we want to make sure that expectations are managed and met. And because of our relationships both with not-for-profit organizations and with different bank partners, we think that we'll be able to help keep the process moving smoothly. So I really just want to close to say I hope you look at us as a resource in this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to David or me. Our emails are on our website, and we can also send this webinar out to those who are registered. If you have any questions, reach out, let us know, and we hope we'll be able to participate in the CRC Challenge. Thank you. David, I didn't know whether you wanted to just close this out formally.
Sure, I will do that. Thanks, Sharon, for your closing remarks, and thank you again to all of you who participated in this webinar. We're very excited to offer this Community Revitalization Challenge in Illinois. We think that it will go a long way towards helping organizations to increase their capacity and, as Sharon said, to be able to develop initiatives which can be financed by banks operating in Illinois. So thank you again. We look forward to your participation, and we hope you all have a great weekend. Bye-bye.